Okay, we're recording. Hello, people. Hi.
Hello.
We got cosplay is coming to you, joining with our special cosplay guest, Grumpy Uncle Mike. And this time we're going to attempt because we may get off topic. It happens. But we're going to talk about going to your very first con and tips and tricks that we three have learned that we are going to share with you so you don't, make the same mistakes that we did, basically.
Yeah.
That's always good.
This is the perfect time since most likely there will not be any cons this year, so you can take this knowledge and carry it over to next year.
Exactly.
Texas Hunters Convention went on, which I thought was a bad idea.
Oh,
Texas
sweet.
Hunters? Well, it's Texas.
They said it wasn't crowded, and it did a lot of thing about the distancing and masks, but still, I don't think any kind of gathering was a good idea.
No, I agree.
Well, I've always said, they always say everything is bigger in Texas, and I add to that, including stupidity. But that's me.
Yep.
High probability. So we can look forward to the next wave of increasing cases due to.
Yeah.
We're not even out of the first wave yet.
Yeah.
But go into
you can't have a second wave if the first wave never ended.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Let's keep away from that unpleasantness.
Yes, we're gonna think of happy things, including cons, because that's what we sometimes live for. So we're gonna get started here. Taylor's gonna start us off here with the very first tip. We have several tips for you to think about when you're going to a con, because for Taylor and I, it was kind of just trial and error, and Mike, it may have been the same thing for you. I don't know. I mean, did you start out working cons first, or did you go to them as a guest and then work, and then how did you start?
Well, it started in 2012. My friends needed an idiot to wear a gorilla suit for their Legion of Doom group, so they rented me a gorilla suit and bought me the ticket. And I had so much fun that I went back to the next one in October, but since I couldn't really afford the ticket, I decided to start volunteering.
Okay. So you kind of started as a guest, but then really got into it as the event staff. Okay, gotcha. Right. So you probably learned all the tips and tricks from the staff side of things.
I've done both. So here lately, I've been more attending than volunteering because there've been regime changes and stuff like that, and hasn't been a whole lot of. I haven't liked the direction some of them went.
Yeah, well, and Fan Expo for Dallas started out when I first started going. It was Dallas Comic-Con, and then they were bought out like 1 or 2 years into when Taylor and I started going. It wasn't that that long into when we started going together as a pair that it became Fan Expo Dallas. They were bought out by, I think, a Canadian company. Fan Expo is a Canadian company. And the first couple of times after they changed, there was like 1 year, and I don't remember the year, but it was just complete disorganized chaos. The photo ops were terrible, which was really bad because like the year, I think maybe it may have even been my second year going, everything was run really, really smooth, and it was just like clockwork. And then the next year they switched management or something, and it was complete chaos and a disaster. And they've slowly gotten back to being a lot better, I think, than it was.
Well, I've seen a lot. I know the photo ops is a third-party entity, and they have a tendency to come in and say, "We don't care what you think we need to do. We're going to do it our way." And then generally, by the third day, they realize whether or not it's working or not.
Of course.
That's what my friends that have worked photo ops running theme is. What's it? Oh, heck. Epic Photo Ops comes and says, "We're going to do it this way." I said, "We've done it here for 2 years, 3 years. We don't think that's going to work. We're going to do it anyway." Then it doesn't work. And then,
Of course, seems to make sense. So, okay, well, let's start out with our first tip. Taylor, kick us off.
Okay, so first tip that we recommend is make sure that you are following the Comic-Con, whether it's Fan Expo, whatever it is in your area, make sure that you're following them on social media and that you sign up for their emails. This is how you're going to get all of the important information, when the event is happening, what guests they're inviting, and when the tickets are going on sale, and all of that important stuff. So that is definitely important. I think that's the most important thing, because you're not going to know any of the information unless you do that.
Nope. That's the best way to get the information. It also lets you know about changes.
Mm-hmm.
Because there will be changes. You may not think they've got it all figured out. There will be changes. There will be last minute guest changes, flights that are postponed or canceled. I remember it was Carrie Fisher's flight that was postponed, like an hour, I think. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying, as soon as we landed, they were like, I was in the car. They probably sped, and we got several tickets on the way over here. But I remember she was like an hour late, and everybody felt really bad. The host was coming on and saying that they felt really bad, but we were all just like, it's okay, we'll just sit here and chat for an hour.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was 2014. I got there the day of the con, and they announced about a half hour before I got there that Nathan Fillion had canceled.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been 2013, 2014, and that was a big deal.
I remember when Norman Reedus and Jeffrey Dean Morgan were coming, and they're like, they're only going to be here for this day, this time, and they're only doing photo ops, and everybody lost their
shit.
Their collective mind.
That one was pretty ugly. I'm glad I wasn't on staff for that one, because it got ugly.
I imagine it did, because we could hear it in the halls getting ugly. And people posting on the comments and on Twitter and things like that, very extremely upset.
Yes, it was not a great time.
It was not a good situation at all, and I remember when Fillion canceled, people kept asking me questions about stuff, and I'd be like, the best place to go would be to this place. Well, why don't you know? Because I'm working here. I always tell people when I work was, I'll try to have as much information as I can, but the best information is whatever you go to the people working. Like, you want questions on photo ops, go to photo ops. Don't ask me, who's down here line managing for William Shatner. Go talk to the photo op people. I can tell you up and down what Shatner's doing, but photo ops is 2 floors away, so they'll be up to date. They're probably down there. They're vaguely aware that William Shatner's in the building. But I, on the other hand, know where he is, because I've got to know that.
The only reason why they know is for photo ops. They only know Shatner is here for photo ops.
Right. He'll be here at 2:30 for whatever. Yeah, but I just tell people, don't just assume that somebody on the first floor has up-to-date information on the 4th floor.
Yeah.
Simple. Mm-hmm. I mean, they seem to think the staff are like the Borg from Star Trek, where we're in a hive mind where we all know everything everybody else knows.
Yeah.
Newsflash, we don't.
We are not the Borg. We don't know all these things.
No. You are not 7 of 9. You don't know.
Nope.
The board, no.
No.
Yeah. No. And don't go to a con just for one guest, because that's just not a good way to handle it.
Yeah, because that one guest is
going to cancel.
Like Nathan Fillion. Or Reedus Morgan.
Didn't Jason Momoa cancel one time? I think Jason Momoa canceled, or he got, and that
he canceled a couple of years. Yeah, Carrie Elwes. I remember Carrie Elwes. Somebody, I was working that con. They said, "Where's Carrie Elwes?" He said, "He canceled about 2 months ago."
Yeah, because we were going to get our picture taken with him that time, and he ended up
pushed it back, I think, to the next year.
Yeah.
Well, I got my picture with Carrie Elwes and my picture with Wallace Shawn, and it was glorious because I was pissed both times. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures. That was good.
Yeah. Yep. I just wish I didn't have the big sweaty pit thing going in my picture with Wallace Shawn.
I think the one picture I think, Jennifer, that I regret is kind of Tim Curry, because Tim Curry did not look happy in that picture at all. Like,
well, that and I know in the year we got our picture with Shatner, remember they said he was like recovering from a cold, and so he said he was still like just had that head cold and that sinus pressure and that headache because he wasn't smiling in our picture, but that's okay. I don't care.
I felt bad because Tim Curry did not look thrilled, and also that would be when my costume broke and I was having to hold my costume like this, so my arms at a funny angle. So it's just
Shatner. I remember seeing a bunch of pictures of Shatner laid out when the previous photo op people used to do it, where they would say, "Give us 30 minutes to an hour, we'll have your pictures," and then they'd spread them all out on the floor, and you just would have to come back and find your picture. And I remember having a chance to peruse a bunch of Shatners, and it looked like a cutout of Shatner because he did not change from picture to picture. The people around him changed, and I did see him change a couple times when there was like a cute kid or a really cute woman in it. But most of it was like it could have been a photoshopped in Shatner because he did move the same generic.
Yeah. Well, I just think having done a few pageants and having to be on stage smiling, I will say you just like kind of get into that zone of, okay, here's this, I'm gonna stay here, you know, because it does like, and I can't even imagine, you know, I mean, like, I think we've been kind of lucky, like we love getting our picture with John Barrowman because he's always doing something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
I have 3 pictures with John Barrowman.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't like that they, you know, just like, you know, and they're pleasant enough and they like, you know, acknowledging their guests and everything. But I think, you know, for some people, they're just like, okay, I'm just going to sit here, you know, do the thing and whatnot, which is fine, you know, because I can only imagine what it's like for them for an hour or however long they have to sit there and just, you know, file in and out. That's got to be somewhat repetitive for it.
I thought it was cool when I got my picture last year. Was lucky enough to get my picture with Smallville cast. Tom Welling looked at me and said, "All right, could you come over here? Tall guys in the back." I said, "Good idea." And I did not realize that Kristen Kruk was going to be in the picture because I was getting the tag along. I had nothing to do with it. I remember thinking, why does this short gal not get out of the pictures? How doesn't she move? Then I realized, oh, it's Kristen Kruk. It's Michael Rosenbaum, Tom Welling, and Kristen Kruk. Oopsie.
I guess the funniest ones I've ever seen taking pictures would be Adam West and Burt Ward. Remember when we were taking them next to the car, and they would sit there and chitter with one another, and they'd be like ready, and they turn the camera and go and take the picture, and then go back to talking. And I was like, that's focus right there. Tell each other, and then move on to the next one.
They're veterans.
Yeah.
They're veterans.
All right. So the next thing that we have as our Comic-Con tip is make sure that you purchase your tickets in advance.
Oh, yeah.
VIP, premium, all your photo ops and things like that. They usually have a limited number of those. So you want to make sure, especially for photo ops, if you want a specific time on a specific day, you need to make sure that you're getting it immediately. It also prevents you from having to stand in line on the first day, on the day you get there, which is always a hassle. And if you want a specific time for a photo op, you might not get it if you don't buy it in advance.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, as soon as possible. Also, if you want to do some, like Fan Expo specifically has a lot of sort of special events, like, you know, they had the Back to the Future. They were having the evening with the 4 Hobbits and things like that. If you want any of those, you definitely need to buy them in advance because those will sell out very quickly. And also all the after hours things. I know that Fan Expo and the Alamo Draft House would show movies and things like that. They also would have those parties and things like that. They sell tickets to those. So if you're interested in doing that, you definitely want to go ahead and buy those tickets because those can sell out too fast. Yeah.
I know VIP and premium always have a limited number. VIP definitely has a limited number.
That sells out usually about an hour.
Yeah. And then like for photo op, like Taylor and I have been really lucky that when they go on sale, it's like one of us is texting each other, okay, who's got it? Because we'll have it planned to where if I'm, in the last couple of years I've been teaching, and so Taylor's been lucky enough that at her work she's able to get on the computer and go ahead and buy all of that immediately. So we're in the first group. We're in that first, we don't have to wait a whole long because they'll usually do like Group A, Group B, Group C. And so she's usually pretty good at getting up there, and we get them all knocked out of the ballpark. And I will say, like, we had this last time out, initially we wanted to get our picture together with Peter Mayhew, who passed away 2-3 days before Fan Expo, which was really sad. But they are really good about exchanging. We went ahead and just exchanged that ticket for John Barrowman.
In costume.
Yeah, in costume. And they were really good about getting that done. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to tickets and photos and things like that.
Well, also you need to be mindful because the price can increase. They might sell it for cheaper, up into like I think it was like a month or something before the con was getting ready to start, and then they would bump up. I know specifically the price of premium was going to go up, and I'm sure VIP was
always
too.
Bump up the closer you get to the show.
Yeah. So
if autograph prices, not so much, but the tickets definitely go up, and you always pay more at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always good to get, and that's why, again, back to that first tip, it's always important to follow them so that way you know when the tickets are going on sale. I am very anal retentive, and I will actually make a calendar appointment the day and time that these tickets are going on sale, so I can make sure that I'm right there in the middle of it. So that's just something that to be mindful of, making calendar appointments or putting it on your calendar, however you schedule your time. It's important.
Yep. The con waits for nobody.
It does not. And just because you want a picture with somebody else wants the picture probably with the same person too. All right. The next con tip that we have is after you get your ticket, make sure you get your travel arrangements together. That is also extremely important. Choosing your method of travel. If you are going to be flying, obviously plane tickets are cheaper in advance. If you're wearing costumes, you need to think about how you're going to get there. So if you're flying, then you need to look at baggage fees because some people charge for additional baggage. Also, you want to check and see luggage size, how big they allow carry-ons and bags if you're going to have to check them. If you have a lot of large costumes, then probably your best bet is going to drive. I know I drive down from Oklahoma each year. I've also
you used to take the train.
I did used to take the train, which was very hilarious the year that we did Indigo Montoya because I'm having to travel on the train with a huge, big, long plastic sword. So that worked out well. Luckily enough, I was able to wrap it in Jennifer's birthday present, which was a blanket that I made for her that year. So it didn't stick out very obviously.
I got it right here.
Yep. Yay,
Yeah.
the Star Trek blanket I made.
Yeah, I remember a lot of my friends have their dark stories, some of them good, some of them bad. I know a couple of people, they bonded because they were the only two people in costume on that particular dart. So they sat with each other, and now they're friends. That's how they had crossed paths before, but this is the first chance they'd had to sit and socialize.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just plane tickets obviously are going to be cheaper the more advanced that you book them. I prefer driving because a lot of times I'm just shoving a whole bunch of things, not just for me, but for Jennifer in my tiny car. And going that way, also it helps for transportation when we get there because since my car is smaller, we can fit smaller spaces than Jennifer in her lovely Mustang. So we can get better parking spots that way.
Yes.
Yep, I understand that. Yeah, and always make sure you know how far the parking, if you're parking, how far the parking is from the event center.
Oh, yeah.
And bear in mind, the muggles may or may not react well to seeing, Superman walking down the street.
Yeah.
So,
it could be. One of the things that we do also recommend is making sure that you get your lodging, which is going along with what you're saying, Michael, your hotels and things like that. You want to get as close to the convention center as you can with your hotel. This will save you on transportation fees if you're close enough to walk. Also, if you're wearing an intricate costume or something like that, it'll help out a lot if you're close enough to the hotel that you can just walk from the convention center. A lot of events have discounts for hotels. If you stay at a specific one, I know Fan Expo
Had 3 or 4.
Yeah. And if you have some friends that are going with you to the same con that live close by, or you know them, you might want to get in with them and maybe see about splitting a hotel room or something like that if you're really good friends. I'm lucky enough that I've got Jennifer who lives down there, so my accommodation is taken care of. But that's just a thought. And also, I saw this online that I didn't really even think about, but that once you land, like if you're flying or once you arrive in the city, go ahead and check in immediately to the hotel, because sometimes during those conventions, the hotels do get overbooked. And if you don't book in a timely manner or check in a timely manner, they can give your room away. So that's something that I hadn't thought of that is really important.
And that drives me nuts. And I'm going to get off topic, but like on airplanes, I mean, I can see overbooking like 5 tickets should someone not show up. But it's like when I've come across people who have been overbooked and there's like a group of 30 people. I'm like, seriously? Count. There are some for that.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I understand you got to cover all that, and there's this percentage of people that aren't going to show, but still, you got 100 rooms, you book 100 rooms, maybe 105.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me either. I don't get that.
When you do also make arrangements for transportation to and from the hotel and the airport or whatever it is, whether you're renting a car or whether you're doing Uber, Lyft, or whatever, but make sure you have that set up in advance.
Old-fashioned taxi cab.
Yeah.
Old-fashioned taxi cab.
Or just be one of those people that you don't care and you're walking down the street. So we always know when a con is in town because we'll see the costumes out.
2 years ago, I went to A-Fest, so I took the train from here in Arlington, and I remember it was A-Fest. I remember the people in front of us when we pulled into the station. There was about 60 people out milling about in costumes, doing photo shoots, and just hanging out. And the 2 muggles in front of me were like, "What in the hell's going on?" And I said to my friend, I leaned over and I said, "Well, it's an anime convention. All these people are in costume for the show. My friend and I are here to see it. We're just not in costume." And then I'll add that my friend had been day drinking because this was like 11:30 in the morning, and that by 1 he left because he was too drunk to go on. Ditched me there. And I'm still a little irritated about it, because if he'd wanted to just hang out and talk, there was better ways to do it than just going to a con
for a few hours and then leaving.
Not even a few hours, because he was sad. Don't mean to speak ill of someone, but he was a very heavy drinker.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there and he wanted to sit. And I'm like, if you wanted to chit chat, why don't you just say, come over and we'll chit chat if you want? Because he knew how I was at cons by then. He knew I wasn't going to sit still.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand. I want to see and do everything, so I just left him there. And then I got a text message from him. I told him I turned my data off, but he forgot. He kept sending me Facebook Messenger messages, and I was like, I don't hear anything going on. Everything's cool. I'll go back and check on him, and I go back. He's not where he's supposed to be. I turn the data back on. I'm going, what's going on? Blah, blah, series of messages. Like, I told him I turned the data off to save my battery. Unfortunately, I bumped into some friends of mine that were there that lived in the area, and they gave me a lift home.
Yeah.
Which was nice, because it turns out they lived about 2 blocks from where I live, and they just dropped me off.
There you go.
But I was like, how dare you come to? He was already drunk at 10:30 in the morning when I met him at the train station. Anyway, I've gone off topic. Let's move on.
But
are we good
any of the muggles comment about people? Jennifer and I, for some reason, always manage to seem to have to stop at Walmart on the way home from the first con. I'm sure you've seen our videos. First year that we had to do it, we were doing Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Yeah.
So I'm the zombie. So I'm covered in blood. Like, my face has got like blood. The dress has got blood on it. I've got the zombie makeup on. I made a headband with a little dagger hilt coming out of my head, right? And people are just like, Literally, they walk past the end of the aisle, and then you'll see them go.
What? Yeah. That was the first the Facebook Live we ever tried. I'm gonna have to see if I can find that video and share it. But we're just walking around. So we did pick up some stuff, and we were just getting the weirdest looks. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, Arlene Con last year, my girlfriend at the time needed to get a prescription before we went to the con. So we went to the local Tom Thumb. She's getting her prescription. I decided I need to get some gum, and the young lady working in the Starbucks sees me and goes, "Oh my gosh, you're Fred Flintstone." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." I should have said yabba dabba doo, but I wasn't quite there in my con headset.
You were in there, yeah.
The dude in front of me in line just turns around and looks at me and just gives me the most derisive sniff I've ever heard. And I'm like, "What? Do you not like Fred Flintstone?"
Oh my God. And then the next time we were actually Rey and Princess Leia. So I still had the cinnamon bun wig on and everything like that. And all the little kids were just like, "Oh, it's Leia and Rey."
That's cool. Yeah, I love my Fred Flintstone. I should have contacted my cosplay husband who made my Flintstone for me to see if he wanted to get involved in this. But he made me the Fred costume because he found a Barney costume. And he did not want to have a Barney without Fred. So he made me from scratch a Fred.
Nice.
That's typically in the beginning. She used to make all my costumes, so yeah.
Yeah, well,
I understand completely.
Yeah, I get my. Yeah, but you got to take into account, travel. And unfortunately, I've never heard about anybody getting jacked or mugged traveling to or from a con, but I'm sure shit like that happens. Pardon my French.
Yeah, probably in the bigger cities, in the bigger areas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that actually, very good, Michael, leads into our next topic, was do research of the area. Check, see your dangers, see if it's going to be an issue wherever you're staying. If you're staying at a hotel, you want to look for, I would say, grocery stores and things like that around that area, just so you can prevent yourself from paying a lot of money for food and things like that. And also, if you have certain dietary restrictions and things like that, like I'm a vegetarian, so I need to have somewhere where I can make sure to get, plant-based foods and things like that.
Also, make sure you at least know your hotel's outside food policy.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, because I know people sneak in food, but hotels don't want you. Some hotels are stricter about that than others.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I've always just snuck it in, like put it in a backpack or something like that and gone.
I understand, but I remember some friends of mine were going to do an A-Con 2 or 3 years ago when it was in downtown Fort Worth. They brought a mini fridge, and the hotel was like, "What?" They told me this later.
Mini fridge. But
don't hotels provide fridges? Most of them.
Well, I just remember this was what they did. I only saw this because I happened to walk by the hotel and I see them loading their little trolley, and I offered to help them load it into their vehicle. So I helped them load their stuff from the little trolley, and I was like, "Is that a refrigerator?" And then they told me the story.
That's funny.
And that being the case, if you would like a refrigerator, make sure that you put on your booking request at the hotel that you would like a refrigerator.
I imagine a lot of them do. It just struck me as because I haven't stayed at a hotel. Well, I stayed at a hotel for All-Con last year. But before that, I hadn't stayed at a hotel in a while, so I don't know what the standard is anymore.
I think all the hotel, like I stayed at a hotel for work-related stuff back in 2019, and it had a fridge already in the room.
Yeah. And
all the hotels that I stayed at when I went to New Zealand and Australia, they all had fridges in the hotel.
I'm sure
so I think that kind of comes standard now.
I think it would be a thing to check to make sure they have refrigerated. And if you have like medicine that you need to keep refrigerated.
Yeah, definitely put it on the booking request or something like that when you check in.
Also be good advice. Make sure there's a pharmacy nearby if you have it. You might need to get a prescription filled or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, as a diabetic, I learned these things.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
and then travel routes. Know how
Yes.
to get to and from the event and your hotel. And like I said, there's a lot of cons that I think are relatively close to hotels and are probably within walking distance, so it's not too bad. But if you're driving someplace or taking a train, know where you're going, what train you're getting on, what stop you're getting off, and vice versa.
Yes. That's very, very extremely
Know if you
important.
need to change. Know if you need to change lines or what stop, etc.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which, and for Dallas, every year update, you check the map, what roads are under construction.
Yeah. Construction is always important. Also remember that when it says that something is a couple of city blocks, that's longer than you think it is.
Yep.
2 city blocks is a lot longer than you think it is. We ran into that when we were in New York on vacation. Oh, it's only 2 blocks. We'll be fine.
New York blocks.
New York blocks. New York blocks. So just keep that in mind. If you want to rent a Lime scooter or a Bird scooter, perfectly fine. That would be hilarious seeing somebody on a costume on a scooter. So think of those
Rickshaw.
things.
Occasionally find somebody pulling a rickshaw.
Exactly. So the next thing that we have is, now that you've got all your arrangements booked out, you want to make sure that you are planning your days and what you're going to do at the cons. Make sure you are checking the schedule, know what sort of events they have, what guests they have speaking that you might want to go listen to. Fan Expo has a lot of workshops and things like that. They even have speed dating and things like that. So if you want to participate in those sorts of things,
Look at everything.
Look at everything. Jennifer and I don't know how you do it, Michael, but Jennifer and I usually will pick a couple of panels that we're like 100% sure that we want to go to, and we'll plan those around like our photo ops and things like that. So we are usually busy every second while we're there, because we'll say, okay, we'll go to panels from this point to this point, then we've got a photo op, then we'll eat, then we'll go to this panel, so that's how we usually do it.
Yeah, I generally have it's a must-have. Would be nice if the opportunity presents itself, and if all else fails. Because I remember one year I ended up getting an autograph with somebody just because everybody else just kind of, one thing or another, I couldn't do it. And it was a good experience, and it was not fun, but it was not somebody who I'd even planned on getting on. I mean, I saw them on the list and went, I like them, but they're not on the list. But one thing led to another, and then and then it turned out to be great, because I mean, you never can get everything you want at a con.
Yeah.
You can't get all the autographs. You can't get all the photo ops. You can't get all the loot. You can't go to all the panels. I remember people being mad because this panel on costume making was the same time as this actor they liked was at the same time, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't make the schedule.
Yeah, that's usually what happens to us. Like, either our photo op is at a time where, we want to go see this one particular person. So usually what Jennifer and I do, we will like stay for like maybe 30 minutes of the panel, and then we'll come out and we'll leave early. There was one time when Jennifer's dad came, and we had scheduled a photo op with Burt Ward and Adam West, but it was right at the end of a panel that her dad wanted to see. So what I did was I actually snuck out early and got in line for the photo op. So that way all they had to do was just come and meet me, which was a good thing I did, because that photo op line was
long.
Very long.
Yeah, it's good to have a buddy for stuff like that. A few years ago, I were working in Texas Frightmare Weekend. I wanted to get my photo with Elvira in costume. But I was also working. Fortunately, my friend Tony she was getting her photo with Elvira too. She held a spot for me. So I had minimal time I had to be away. Even though the con knew I was getting a photo with Elvira, they still don't want you to spend a lot of time not at your post. So it was cool. It's good to have buddies. I know a lot of people go in the loner mentality. It doesn't work.
No, it usually doesn't.
Have a line buddy, or make friends with somebody, because what if you're in line to get your autograph with someone and you have to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, Jennifer and I really, because usually one of us is wearing a costume that we can't hold things in. So it's always good to have that buddy who could, we usually try to pair it where if she doesn't have pockets, I have pockets, or I'm carrying her purse, or she's carrying a purse or something.
Yep. You need to add a third one to your group for your pack mule.
Exactly. So when you're planning your day, you also want to think about how long it's going to take to travel between your events and how long that you're going to be standing in line. If the convention center is large, it's going to take you a long time to get from point A to point B, especially when it's crowded and there's a lot of people, and you're going to have to work your way through it. And we've kind of already talked about this a little bit, but if you know that a presenter or an event is going to be really popular, then and the room is going to fill up quickly, you need to be sure that you get in line as early as you can. We were in line, I think the longest that we've been in line for somebody, Jennifer's, was like 45 minutes, I think. And it was in the big convention hall. So you just got to think about that. When you know that somebody is going to be popular, that room is going to fill up pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Texas Frightmare Weekend in 2013. John Bernthal from The Walking Dead was there. And because Norman Reedus had canceled, so he got a lot of the overflow from that. There were people that said they waited in line for his autograph 4 and 6 hours.
Wow.
Because I remember we had the line, it snaked out of the room, looped around this long hallway, came out, and we had 3 people I was managing the tail end of the line. Another person was handling the middle, and somebody else was managing the front. And it was crazy. I mean, it took hours. Some people took hours because of course, if Norman Reedus had been there, probably wouldn't have been as popular, but then we would have been doing that with Norman Reedus.
Yeah, you would have had just as long a line, if not more, for Norman Reedus, because I'm sure some people canceled because it wasn't Norman Reedus.
Yeah, but I just remember it was cool. I managed my section of the line very well. We all got along real well, and I impressed the hell out of the Texas Frightmare Weekend people because it was my first time and I was a last-minute addition. So it was great. Of course, things started to go to hell shortly thereafter, but that was fun.
All right, so the next thing that we have is be sure that you are downloading the events app and make sure you're following them on social media. I personally like the app, and if you have the app, make sure you turn on notifications for the app, so that way you can get the alerts. That has saved our bacon actually a couple of times with, I think it was actually Peter Mayhew. The one year that he did come and we were watching his panel, they changed the time. They actually had him earlier than he was supposed to be. So we were walking in and I saw the long line. I looked at my phone and it said, Peter Mayhew is now here at this time. And I was like, we need to get in this line. Yeah. Jennifer's like, what? And I was like, it's Peter Mayhew. Get in line. Get in line. Yeah.
I understand that. I recall a con I worked a few years ago. Jim Cummings was was supposed to do a panel, but something came up and he had to leave early, so his panel got canceled. On a Sunday.
They do that a lot, or they move it, or they change it to day. The one that really threw us off is last year when they moved Boy Meets World from Saturday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Or no, they switched it. It was Sunday to Saturday.
Yeah, they switched the days because that threw us off slightly anyway with our costumes, because the friend, my teacher friend who's been coming with us the last couple of years, that was like the only panel she wanted to see. And when they switched days, that meant because we went from a duo with our costumes to a trio, we had to switch costumes. So like our entire kind of like weekend, plan out had been switched because of that. But it was like great because like I was able to get on the phone with her, like, hey, you better make sure you have tomorrow ready because they just switched days on you. And it ended up working out, but that app is nice because they keep it updated and they're posted on social media, but that if you've got that app and that phone, and especially the younger generation are addicted to that phone, they've got it with them 24/7 right there in the palm of their hand. Yeah, I know. They never pay attention in class because that darn phone. But it comes in handy, and it's definitely something good to have. Her. There was even, and I don't remember who it was, but there was somebody that got moved from like Arena A, or got like moved from like rooms 101 and 102 to the arena because they had so many people that they didn't think they were going to have, and so it was more room changes and things like that. It's nice to know. And
especially like the apps now. Number one, it's also important to have the app is because Fan Expo, I know they're no longer printing the guides and the schedules. So that is going to be your only way to kind of have that at your fingertips is to have the app. Also, the app has that map of the convention center where all the rooms are and things like that. So that way you're able to find and locate things more quickly. The next thing is if you are planning to wear a costume that has a weapon, you need to go ahead and make sure.
Yeah.
Any kind of prop, because
any kind of prop,
maybe a cane, but it could still be construed. You got to get it, make sure it's con safe.
Yeah. So you want to check out the policies that this convention is going to have on their weapons, or their, what needs to be checked or considered a prop weapon. That's always important because you have some things that they will not allow and some things that they will. Metal, anything like that.
Sharp. I remember one year I was in line. This young lady behind me, she was dressed as Kaylee from Firefly. And she had an itty bitty wrench, and the DPD were discussing not letting her bring it in. I just went, I'd love to hang around for this, but itty bitty wrench. But it was
the first thing that I went to was Fan Days, and I went as Jane, and I had a Nerf gun. Like, I didn't have an actual gun. I had like a Nerf gun, and they made me tag that.
Yeah.
Even though
anything that looks like a firearm.
Yeah. Well, no, it cracked me up because it was like literally you could tell it was a yellow Nerf gun.
The policy, they don't want that one person that's going to paint their real gun yellow to sneak it in.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if I
told y'all a few years ago I was helping with prop check at a con. And this dude came in. I don't know who he was. He was doing some kind of paramilitary gear. I don't know if he was. Remember, it was a video game movie, but he had a bunch of weapons, and he had a pistol. I said, and he was parceling all the weapons out to the Irving PD, and the other staff. And I said, "I see your pistol, sir." He gave me a pistol, and I took it. And I remember thinking, "This is awful heavy." Officers, that's a real pistol. That's a real Glock pistol. And I backed away. The other volunteer backed away, and the 2 or 3 officers, they weren't impressed.
I'm sure.
And it wasn't loaded. I could tell. I mean, I've had some training and some experience, but I knew it wasn't loaded. And if you're and I could tell it wasn't loaded because it didn't have a magazine in it, and it was the slide was back.
The slide was back.
So many pockets. He had so many pockets. He could have had 29 magazines on him. So the PD took care of that, and me and another volunteer were like, "Can you believe that dumb?" And I see him every now and again. I see him from time to time. I just look at him and go, "Oh, that idiot's got a gun on him." I mean, a real gun, a real honking pistol. And I still remember that going, I was like, this is really, really metal.
This is heavy. This is not right. The next thing that you want to do pre-con is you want to print out your tickets and download them on your phone. You want to do both. And we recommend doing both because I'm sure that you've run into this, Michael, is when you are in that convention center, you do not have signal.
Especially not in Dallas.
That is very bad. So just keeping the ticket in your email, it's going to take you, or screen, it's going to take forever to get to it. So just always have it printed out. It's a lot faster, and you can recycle the paper later if that's what you want to do. But just print out the ticket.
Screenshot, both, multiple backups.
Yes, backups are your friends.
Yes, especially that saved Jennifer one time because one time Jennifer actually forgot the actual paper ticket at home, but luckily she had taken a screenshot of it, and that saved her bacon.
That's what I do with all of mine.
I remember correctly. I had it in my hand when we went to the car, and I had to run back in the house for something. And I set it down because I had it in my hand along with my backup, my battery charger, my external charger, and I left that. It was sitting on the stove top because I put both of those items down as I was reaching for something. So.
Yep. Luckily, I had my backup charger if you needed it.
Well, I can't fuss about losing something vital. When at Fan Days last year, I forgot my lightsaber.
Oh.
shop. I can't be forgetting
Fortunately,
that.
I went back. I was able to go back and get it, but I felt really stupid.
I lost my badge.
Mm-hmm.
But they were nice enough because I could show my ticket and everything, and I had my bag still with my premium thing in it. Yep. They were nice enough to give me another one, and I was not happy. I was looking around all over for it, and I could not find it. But luckily, I had proof enough that, yeah, this is me that I was able to get another one. So that's another tip for you. Make sure that you're keeping track of your items because you will lose them in the weirdest places.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next tip that we have, go ahead and flip the screen, Jennifer, because I can't remember which one we have next.
Yeah, during the day itself. Day itself.
All right, so here are the items that we recommend that you bring day of the Comic-Con. First off is a refillable bottle for water. Don't fill it up when you get there or before you go in, because they'll most likely want to check it with you, because outside drink is not cool. But once you get in, find a water station and refill it. I personally prefer the collapsible water bottles, the kind that are kind of made of plastic, not the metal ones, because the metal ones they might not like, because they, like Michael said, they could be used as a weapon. So you might want to look at a plastic one or something that can be folded down once you get done with it. That's extremely helpful. Make sure that if you don't want to eat there, that you're bringing food.
And you might have to sneak that in too.
Non-perishable items. What Jennifer and I do like to do is we always try to park underground in a parking garage with her vehicle, and we will leave our food in the insulated bags. And then at a certain time, we'll sneak down to the parking garage and we'll snack there. So sometimes food can get expensive at the con. So if you don't want to buy food there, little packets of crackers, something non-perishable, something like that. Or trail mix, nuts. If you bring a full-on lunch, make sure you're putting it in an insulated bag so that way it stays cool.
So I will say it's much more of an inconvenience now, because last year they made us go all the way across the street and we had to enter all the way in the back before we could get to the main. That was a pain.
Yeah, parking.
Things. So much more convenient. No, down the escalators and get to the cars right there, and then we don't have to go
crossing the street and everything in costume, especially when you're wearing. I was wearing the Princess Leia boots, and those go-go boots are not comfortable walking in long distances.
Don't imagine they were.
No. So the next thing that we also recommend is that you bring cash. You can bring your debit card, that's fine, but some of the vendors and also autographs only accept cash.
Yeah.
Everybody takes cash, not everybody takes a debit card.
That is very true. So you might want to put that in your mind. Also, parking, you can only park, sometimes pay for parking. They will only take cash.
Yeah. So, and there are usually ATMs in the building, in the convention halls, or close by to where you can reload your cash, but always have your cash and keep it secure.
Yeah.
Don't have it, where everybody can see you pull it out. Make sure you have it secret pocket or something.
Yep.
And make it in some pocket that's not easily accessible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't go nuts, but also don't have it in a pouch on your belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have it like in a back pocket or something, because somebody, if you're having your photo, you probably would feel it, but they can reach into your back pocket.
Yeah. And I've already say there's pickpocketers, and a lot of them are very, very good. And being at a con with a lot of people, there are accidental bumps and shoves, and you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime anybody bumps into me, I check my wallet first thing.
Yeah, I always try to, like, Jennifer and I will usually have like little handbags with us. So whenever we take pictures with somebody, we always keep the handbags with us, and I always like push it up so that way nobody can reach in it. So that's always just good. But yeah, you just always have to be careful. The next thing that we recommend you bring is your ID. Always want to be able, just in case something does happen, that you have an ID that you can show. I think they allow alcohol. They don't allow alcohol purchases at Fan Expo, right? Or do they?
They haven't the last few years, no.
But I think there are some cons that I've heard of that do.
Texas Frightmare Weekend does have alcohol because it's in a hotel.
Yeah. So that's just something, if you do want to imbibe.
Or even if you don't go, you might want to go to a bar across the street from the convention center.
Like if, for example, if you do want to take part in the Alamo Draft House movie event that they have, or the parties that are happening after the cons or whatever, that alcohol. So you will need to get carded before you go in. Always want to make sure you have that on you. Your phone and a phone charger. That's always extremely important. You will be taking a lot of video and pictures and things like that.
Extra battery if you have one.
Extra battery stick or a wall charger. There are some outlets that you can plug in if you don't have a battery charger. I recommend that you get a battery pack. I mean, those are the best things ever.
Have both.
Yeah.
That way you're not stuck to the wall for 30 minutes while you charge your phone.
Yep. I ran into an issue last year. My battery was going bad on my phone, so I ended up like keeping my phone like plugged into my battery stick like the entire time.
Yeah.
So just something to be mindful of. Next thing is you want to bring something to carry items and your pictures in so they don't get bent. I always bring a file folder, like a regular folder that we can put our pictures in, and then usually quickly after that, Jennifer and I will go down to the car and put the folder in the car. Don't carry them around in your hands because, like we've talked about many times, there's a lot of people. You will get bumped. You could get knocked out of your hands, stepped on, crinkled, anything. So just make sure you bring something to secure it in.
Yeah, something to put all your loot in, whether it's pictures or T-shirts or collectibles.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be trying to juggle your $200 Godzilla statue for the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention names, but that happened to a friend of mine.
If you get the premium and the VIP tickets at Fan Expo, you do get a bag that has a whole bunch of swag and stuff in it, so you can use that as well. And I think they actually have the bags on sale, if I remember right. At the
Fan Expo will sell. Fan Expo is still trying to figure out how to charge for the toilet paper at the convention center. They'll sell you anything they can get away with.
They'll sell you anything your heart desires. Because I remember the first couple years that we went, they actually gave us, which is something that is next on our topic, is the lanyards that you could put your badge on that had Fan Expo on it. I think the first year that I came, I got it for free in the premium bag.
It depends on the package you get.
Yeah, every year after that, there hasn't been any lanyard in the bag, but they have them out there on the table to sell.
I think it's only for VIPs now.
So that's just something that if you would like to buy the bag, like so for example, that they're selling, you can buy that. You can also buy the lanyards, something to hold your badge, which is something that we recommend. Like I said, I've lost mine. It was a pain in the ass. Luckily, I didn't have it on my lanyard. I just had it on me in my pocket. So that's just something that you want to be mindful of. Don't forget your lanyard. Don't forget your badge and your wristband. That's something that you definitely need to keep track of. Otherwise, you won't get into an event.
Nope.
I don't think Fan Expo did wristbands last year, did they? I think they just
had wristbands for everybody except. Sorry, Jennifer, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know we just had badges because I was putting together my scrapbook and we just had the badge, but like the badge was that electronic. They had like the chip in it to where they would scan it and everything. It became like our ticket and everything too.
Yeah, I think it was for premium and above because I think I had a wristband.
Yeah.
It depends. The more money you spend, the more fancy it gets, basically.
Because I remember that we had to actually go to a website on the phone and actually activate the badge.
Yeah, I don't remember messing with any of that, so I think it was just the premium and above, I believe.
Yeah, which I felt, I don't know how you felt, Jennifer. I actually prefer having the wristbands. And the reason why is because when you're walking through doors, because in Fan Expo, you only have the specific, like this entrance is for premium or this entrance is for VIP. And all you had to do was just show your wristband and you could just go right on in. Instead, you had to dig out the badge. If it was underneath your costume, you had to pull it out and you had to show it to them. I the wristband.
Yeah, but our wristbands used to say deluxe on them. Even though we get premium, they used to say deluxe on them. So we had the deluxe badge or the deluxe band.
Yeah, that was not something well thought out.
No.
That was not something well thought out. No.
I mean, I just prefer the wristbands. I don't know why. Just so because I could show it and I didn't have to worry about anything else.
Oh, wow.
So something else that you do not want to forget, this one's extremely important, is your ticket. Your photo op ticket, the ticket to get your badge. Again, you can probably take a screenshot on your phone and be able to use it, but it's just always much better, like Michael said, to have backups of your backups.
Yeah.
Have it ready for
No
you.
plan survives first contact. Yeah, it's always something's always going to come up.
Yeah, it always does. You always, and we're giving you these tips. We always forget things. I mean, you've heard us say Michael forgot his lightsaber, Jennifer forgot her ticket, I've lost my lanyard. It happens. I mean, I specifically, and Jennifer will attest to this, I am anal retentive. I will have stuff set out the night before in the bag, ready to go. So all I have to do is before we walk out the door, just grab it. And I'm the one telling her, hey, do you have your ticket? Do you have this? Do you have this? Don't forget your fan. And we still
forget.
Well, it's like when I split the hotel room with my buddy, even though both of us lived locally, we decided to get a hotel for fan days last year. And yeah, I walked off and I had 4 costumes. One of them was my Jedi, and I just walked off and I got to the hotel. And I'm like, I forgot my damn lightsaber. and then makes it even more ironic. I didn't even end up doing the Jedi that year. Because you always, if you're going to travel, you've got to have at least if you want to do costume, you should have a backup because something could go wrong.
Right.
I remember that year I did my Peter from Deadpool, my boom mic guy from Star Wars. The Jedi was the backup in case that didn't work out, and for Sunday was Fred Flintstone.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jedi was backup, and I remember Fred. I went with Fred on Sunday because he was comfortable.
Yeah, usually we pick comfortable costumes on Sunday because about that point we're tired from Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday was fun. Saturday was fun because again the pink. Either of you familiar with who the boom mic guy from Star Wars is?
Yes, pink shorts guy.
You probably saw some of my pictures.
Yeah,
I did.
So many pictures of my bottom now. It's embarrassing. He died a few months ago.
I did know that. That was sad.
Yeah, he was like 90 something. So
yeah, I think we talked about that last time we did the chat.
Yeah, we probably did. But
I mean, a bunch of people have died here lately. Regis Philbin died yesterday.
Olivia de Havilland today.
Olivia de Havilland died today, but she was 104. Like
Regis was 88. He had a good run too.
But does it sound so awful that I thought he was older than that? Like, you know how he was only 88? He was older than that. Okay.
Right. Nobody believes me when I say I'm 48.
I didn't. Sorry.
Yep. 1972, you whippersnapper.
You've only got 11 years on me. 11 years on. So.
You're still a whippersnapper. Everybody under 40 is a whippersnapper.
Is it 11 or 12, Jennifer? I can't remember.
We're 12.
12. Yeah, you got 12 years on us.
You're almost at 11. You'll be 11.
Hey, I just heard from Dan. He was out. I don't think he's going to make it.
That's okay.
Thank you, Dan.
We'll get him later.
We got a spot for you later. So the next thing that we recommend that you bring, and we talked about this last time, is make sure you bring your personal items, your deodorant, mints, pain medication, Kleenex, chapstick, hand sanitizer.
Makeup.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say, Michael. Makeup. I have forgotten lipstick a couple of times, and it was bad because I needed it because it was like my black lipstick. I can't remember what. I think I was doing someone.
Dark Lily,
and I forgot my black lipstick, and then I forgot my white makeup when I was wearing the hatter, so I couldn't touch up my cheek from sweating. So if you have a costume, and Jennifer had to bring her red makeup when she was doing Dark Lily, make sure you bring it. When she was doing darkness, make sure you bring it. So
even if you're not costuming, just make sure you plan a day ahead of time. At least you got X amount of your clean underwear, your clean socks, your toiletries, your again, medicine, like, nothing. I'm fortunate none of the medicine I need to take is going to kill me if I miss a day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But planning is crucial.
Well, even not just, I mean, when it comes to medication, whenever I visit Jennifer, and Jennifer has this issue too, I have to take my allergy medication. So make sure that you bring that. My nose goes crazy and I get sinus headaches when I'm down there sometimes. So it's always good to, know where you're going and know if you're going to need that sort of medication.
Yeah, well, you never know, bring, especially when you travel, bring, just some generic Tums and antacids, and because you never know, you might try something, you'll eat something funny.
Mm-hmm.
Or
you never know. Yeah. I have a bad back, so I have to make sure that I have my ibuprofen, and I also have heat patches that I will put, like icy heat patches that I will put on my back just to relax my back, especially when I know, like, it's really bad when I have to wear a corset for some reason. Like,
I wouldn't know about those.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know that. Yeah.
I also like wearing the corsets because it keeps my back straight, because I injured my back in college. So it actually, apart from eating, when you're wearing a corset and you've just finished lunch, that is the worst part of wearing a corset, because then you're like, oh gosh, I can't.
I also disagree with that, but it is also bad because when we wear corsets, it's usually when we are Disney princesses. So we are taking pictures with the children's. Mm-hmm. So bending down in the corset so you can.
The leg muscles and the squats go on a lot during that.
You gotta do the ladylike kneel. Slowly rise back. That is also bad when you're in a corset. But again, make sure you have all the medication and everything that you're going to think you need throughout the day. Makeup. We're adding hand sanitizer, and I'm also going to say this, a mask apparently now, because I'm sure that is going to be something that is needed. So if you feel comfortable, even if you're in costume wearing a mask, don't forget your mask, because that's always important.
Yep.
So if you do take your own vehicle to Comic-Con, make sure that you're getting there early so you can get a good parking spot.
And make sure it's cleaned out. There's not anything that might tempt anybody in it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Jennifer and I, whenever we go to Fan Expo, we prefer to park in the parking garage. So we always try to get there early so we can get a good spot. Again, that's just because we also bring our own food. Also, a lot of times Jennifer and I will not get fully in costume. I'm sure you don't do this either, Michael. We don't get fully in costume until we get to the con. And so sometimes in the parking garage, we're adding, bits and pieces and things like that, just so, we didn't have to travel in the.
And that's like the only time I will pay extra for parking is if we're down underneath, because it's nice and easy. Because when up until a couple of years ago, when we could get on the escalators like right there at the door, we didn't have to go outside and up and around. We were literally right down with the escalator right away from the car, from food, from emergency sewing kit to whatever we had in the car that we needed.
Yep.
Right.
So when it comes to parking, Jennifer and I ran into this a couple years ago. Make sure you look around at the signs and everything where you are parking. Make sure that the prices don't change at a specific time. We ran into that we parked there like 5 minutes before 6 o'clock, and we ended up getting a ticket because they said that we were there right before the prices changed and we didn't pay enough. So
that's another scam.
Honestly, I still think that's a stupid computer issue, when we should have gotten the option to pay for the weekend price. I don't know why they didn't do that. I argued that fact, and apparently they didn't like that.
Nope.
So that's just be mindful of that. Make sure that you're looking where you're parking. Make sure you can park there, that it's not a reserved spot for, a tenant in a building or something like that. If you're parking at a convention center, you shouldn't have that issue. But if you're parking in the neighborhoods around that or the businesses around that,
you never can tell.
You never can tell. So always
Which is why I will never park outside in that parking lot again. Nope, they've lost my business. Never again. I will spend the extra $10 and park underground. Thank you very much.
That's my policy. Whenever I can.
And it's also because it's cooler. I mean, I just prefer it because it's going to be cooler wherever you park, and it's faster to get in and out. That's just my preference. So we also say arrive early to get a good spot. You also want to arrive early at least the first day so you have time to get a good lay of the land. And that's if you haven't been to that convention center before.
And they tend to change. They tend to move stuff around just because it was this setup last year doesn't mean it's going to be this setup this year.
Mm-hmm. We've ran into that several times, especially when it comes to the photo op areas and things like that. They've moved
the photo op is crazy.
Every year since I've been coming to Fan Expo, they have moved the photo op area and done it completely different. I think last year we were actually in the arena for photo ops with John Barrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got to do 4 photo ops because I was tagging along on my girlfriend's friend, and it was in the arena, and he was VIP. He let us sneak in with him. A couple of people fussed about us not being VIP, but it's like, well, the VIP wanted to bring us, so talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nobody fussed. I mean, he was the VIP and we were his guests. And I just tucked my badge into my pocket so nobody would fuss.
Well, I mean, I don't think they shouldn't have been complaining because it says that you can have up to 3 people in the pictures. So it doesn't matter if that person's VIP or the people that you're bringing are VIP or not.
It wasn't the staff. It was just this person in line and behind us.
Yeah.
And you'd have thought, and I was like, well, I said, he's the VIP and he's bringing us. So.
Yeah.
I understand, depending on how picky the con is being, because they've said sometimes not to let people do that, and I'm like, I'm not going to argue with them.
Well, I mean,
as long as there's one VIP in the group,
and they're bringing them to take pictures, because you can have up to 3 people in the pictures. You really can't.
4 adult total.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it was there's always somebody who's going to be fussing. There's one guy that was infamous among the Fan Expo staff. He would start screaming at us for, like, one guy, he yelled at us one time because we let a guy and his minor children. We let the minor children be in line with their dad in the VIP line. I'm like, these kids were maybe 8 and 10 years old.
Where did he expect them to be?
Exactly. Matter of fact, this same guy, I got in his face once and I said, if you want to help, sign up and wear an orange shirt. Otherwise, be quiet.
Gosh.
And
because then he would have been upset because the children were being left unattended somewhere.
Oh, he was one of those people. He was always looking for something to be unhappy about. And I just remember I got in his face because we had a system. It wasn't great, but we had a system. He just took it onto himself to shuffle people around, and we're like, "You're not helping. Get." We have a plan. It's not get your ass into your spot in line we gave you and stay there. Don't try to help.
You are not a staff. Stop.
Yeah, it was I haven't seen him in a while, but if I ever see him again, I'm going to give him a dirty look. But that was it's always, I mean, and anytime you tell people you no matter how good your instructions are, people aren't going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember I told somebody, go over there, take a left to get them when I saw them walk over and take a right, and I went, what? Then I saw him come back, and I caught their attention. I waved at him, and I pointed.
That
left.
That left.
Your other left.
The actual left.
Yeah. I understand you can get confused.
No. Okay. So you can get there early. It allows you to get the lay of the land so you know where things are. It also gives you an opportunity to check out vendors before they get too busy, because there's a lot of great vendors. Jennifer specifically loves the lady who draws cats in the different Star Wars and Harry Potter and things like that. She always wants to go to see the cat lady, and different costumes and just different things like that. So it's always great to catch them before they get too busy,
Yep.
or they run out of whatever it is you're looking for.
Well, and that's why we get there on Fridays, because we go for Fan Expo. We do all 3 days, and so Friday, because one, it's it doesn't open till 4 for the general public. We get in at 2 because with our premium tickets we get in early. But we go and hit the vendors then because it's less busy. That's why we're able to scope. We kind of know it's like, I'm going to think about this. Maybe tomorrow I'll come back and get it. So we make notes of where things are at, because they always change the layouts of the vendors every year. They will always have a different layout. They'll have the anime on this side. They'll have the authors on the back, and then the next year they're forward. So it's always good to go if you have the extra time and can go early. Go check out the vendors. So if you want to get stuff, you can go ahead and buy it then, so you can worry about panels and photo ops and stuff on the other days.
Yeah, and it's always good because there's a lot of things that you can get pictures taken with. Like Jennifer and I got pictures with Toothless, and what's the dragon's name? The other one? Light Fury. We were able to get those pictures taken really quickly because we got there early and there wasn't a lot of people standing in line and waiting around. The Star Wars TARDIS is usually there. It's always good to be able to get there early so you can get your pictures taken with those sorts of things without being rushed.
Yeah, the Star Wars and the 501st, they cycle through everybody. So it might be 2 stormtroopers and a TIE pilot, but 2 hours later it might be Darth Vader and Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Bear in mind that too.
So you can do multiple.
It's good to know where everything is.
Yeah.
So the next thing,
I'm gonna throw in here. You need to make sure you eat and drink, and you need to take breaks. That is a biggie. You must eat, you must drink, and you must take breaks.
Yep. And I will always remember, no matter how well you plan it, that costume, you gotta go. You're gonna have to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Even if you're a teacher and are used to going nearly a whole day without a restroom break, you need to go.
Yeah.
I'm not. Just to mention, if you get the upper level tickets like premium and VIP, we've talked about this before, but they do have lounge spaces or spaces where you can specifically go to get up and out of the way with those badges. Jennifer and I love doing that. It gives you an opportunity to pick up your feet, just relax. There's other places that you can sit and eat. But yeah, definitely you need to eat and you need to relax and go to the bathroom. That is always very particular. Thank you. Excuse me. Dinner time.
I remember always a bathroom tip. Don't ask if you see somebody, like I ran into a silent Bob in the restroom. And I said, Bob, we got to do our business, but will you please wait for me outside because I must get my picture with you, but I've also got to do my business. Because it was a really awesome silent Bob, but he was coming in. He was going out as I was coming in. So I said, Bob, please, could you give me a couple minutes to do my business? Because I got to get my picture with you. And he stayed in character and went. So did my business and went outside. Because there was a story a few years ago. Alan Tudyk was at one of the cons, and apparently he was in the stall doing his business, and he saw a hand come under with a camera. And according to again, this is just an anecdote, but he nudged it with his foot, and the phone broke because it fell out of the person's hand. I said, "Well, I would too." He's lucky. He's lucky he didn't stomp on his hand.
Oh yeah.
But I know some, depending on the celeb, like at Fan Expo, especially, they have designated areas where just the guests can go. But this was at the Irving Convention Center, West Mall, and I remember he and Gina Torres were either coming to or going from their duo photo ops, and he had to go, and I guess they didn't clear the restroom or he didn't worry about it, and he's trying to do his business, and here's camera phone coming in. Again, just an anecdote. Just an anecdote. I was there for that con, but I didn't see it. Yeah. I heard about
it. So next thing, be sure that if you have a prop and or weapon that you get it checked right when you come to the door. There could be a line to get it checked because there usually sometimes there's only one officer there at that particular spot. So just be sure that you get that checked when you first walk in.
It's also a good idea to make sure you know the policy before you build, buy, or try to bring the prop. Because I remember more than once I've seen a Negan walk in, then have to walk right back out because they have it might be plastic barbed wire, but it's a real wooden bat. So make sure you know, like I remember I had Fan Expo doesn't let you even bring a replica pistol, metal at all. Even if it's a non-firing replica, it can't be a metal pistol.
Right.
Or a metal sword or a metal dagger. Or I think they even said one year they wouldn't even let you do solid. So I have a my Walter pistol is a solid cast resin. It looks like a 45, but since it was solid, I didn't even bother to bring it. Not that you need a gun to be Walter, but it's one of those. Yeah. I didn't want to mess with it because I've been there again. I'll never forget that dude that brought the real pistol.
Yeah.
His name was Michael too. He made it bad. Made all of us look bad.
Oh no. Well, I even had, when I was Glinda, my wand, which was a little wooden dowel, and this, foam star on top that, they tagged that, which actually worked out well because it's the paint, because Taylor had made that prop for me. The paint that she used, we found out later, like to rub, and leave a stain on my hand. So there was enough.
It too. I couldn't figure out how the hell it was doing that.
Yeah, there was enough of the yellow, weapons check tape that I could loop it around enough to make it, cover that section up so I could hold. I still had it to, show him, but it was also protecting my hand from getting covered in silver paint.
There was one year a dude came in. He was dressed in a martial arts gi, and I tagged his entire body because his whole body was a weapon. And he, with good humor, I saw him the rest of the day. He never took it off. I think he just understood. I sometimes lose control of the silly impulses.
Yeah.
But I tagged him. Since your whole body's a weapon, we have to tag you, sir.
There you go. Nice.
So the next thing, be prepared that there's going to be a lot of people, and you will be standing in line for things. Things quickly. So.
Yeah. Make sure your footwear is good.
Make sure the footwear is good. And that goes along with, you need to be patient. Just wait your turn. Don't be a dick about things. Don't be bitchy and gripey. Everyone's going to get their picture taken. Everyone's going to get their autograph.
Mm-hmm. Which then goes into our next tip and they have fan expo is nice because they have the signs up, it's constant reminders, but just to remember that cosplay isn't automatic consent. So if you want to get a picture with someone, it's just polite to ask first. There are some people that will say no. I mean, we've never had it happen, but I'm sure there are some people that don't want pictures taken. So always ask before you take pictures. People,
they're just done, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
We've never had anybody say no. But then again,
I think I do because I'm so ugly.
I don't think that's the case now.
You didn't say no to us, and we got our picture taken.
Well, I remember more than once. I've been like when I was in my Jedi one time. I was getting my picture made with a couple of people I just ran into that were also in Jedi. And somebody came up and said, "Can we get y'all's picture?" And I said, "Sure." Wait a minute, is it okay with you guys? Because we had just met, and we were all like, "Oh, we're all Jedi. Let's get some pictures." And then some people come up and like, I got a bad habit of saying, "Sure," but I can't speak for them.
Yeah.
Well, it happened to us one time. Is we were Snow White and Cinderella, and we ran into a whole gaggle of other Disney princesses. Like there was Ariel, and there was Belle, and it was like a whole group of us. So they were like, "Oh, we want our picture with you," and we're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll get our picture with you." And then immediately all the little girls started coming up and being like, "Oh, we want our picture." So we had to be like, "Good, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, we're good." And so we just
I've had to play traffic coordinator sometimes.
Yeah,
I've done it, so I'm good. I can do it. I can't be able to say, "They were next. You're next. You're next." It's fun because
that's actually usually me, and Jennifer thinks that's hilarious. We're like, I'm getting them next, but I'll get you after them. Come.
Yeah,
quick. Jennifer does it sometimes too. Like, no, wait, I gotta get them. They were first.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun when you're in demand like that.
Yeah, I think the time that we were in demand like that was when we were Jareth and
Jared and Jared, yeah, that was I think our second year, I think, going, and we had no idea that they were going to be that popular. I mean, we had people coming up to us in the afternoon saying, "We heard you were here. We've got to get our picture. Is that okay?" And we're like, "Sure."
When you were the Darkness and Lily, that's when I met y'all.
No, we were sharing the Goblin King.
We did. Labyrinth, when we did David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's still popular, and I think you've got your picture with us when they're too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know I got my picture. I know I remember bumping y'all when y'all were Darkness and Lily, because I got a picture. I was in my Biff and I got a picture of you bumping Darkness and Lily.
Yeah, because I remember I was like, "Sure, Michael," and you're like, "Wait a minute, do I know you?" I was like, "Yeah, you saw us earlier."
The second time we were in Labyrinth costumes, you were dressed up as a Jedi.
Yep, we got a picture with you as a Jedi.
Yeah, I'm working. My next cosplay is going to be a Star Trek of some sort.
Ooh.
I spent like an hour this morning because part of the problem is buying stuff off the rack because I'm such a large gentleman, especially across here, and it's not so much the girth of my gut that's part of it, is my long torso. Because I can't decide. I have my Captain Kirk, my Starfleet, my Star Trek Original Series Captain's top, and I have a decent pair of pants. But then I'm thinking, well, now I need to get Next Generation. I need to get Voyager. I need to get. I do say I will not get a Star Trek Discovery costume because those are tacky and bland at the same time. I don't like them, but if people like them, more power to them. That's just me.
All right, so we're sitting there saying cosplay is not consent. You know, always ask before you take your picture taken with someone, but always make sure that you do the same. Like if you don't want your picture taken, you don't have to get your picture taken. You can say no.
Yeah.
I got in trouble at a Frightmare because I said, "Can I take your picture?" And they said, "This isn't cosplay." And I said, "It's still a cool outfit. May I take your picture?" They just said no. Done. But they said it's not cosplay, and I didn't click, and I took their picture, and then they fussed about it, and it got back to me because everybody knows I take a lot of pictures, so I deleted the pictures immediately. But I was like,
all they have to do is just say no.
Yeah, these two gals had these cool outfits, and I thought they were gothy horror themed, but they weren't. And I asked, "May I take your picture, please?" "Well, these aren't costumes. I still think they're cool. May I take your photo?" They should have just said no. I would have clicked. I mean, it's partially just say no. They weren't expecting it. I understand that, and I'm like, I'm sorry. If you tell me no, I respect that. You start waffling. I'm like,
yeah.
Be simple. I understand, and it's also because I'm also was like a foot taller than them. But I was like, okay, fine. I mean, you tell me no, I respect that.
Yeah, just say no. If someone says no, then you respect it. If you don't want it, then say no.
Don't whipple waffle. Say no.
Nope.
Don't come up with an excuse. I mean, just anyway. That's one of the. I was like, I don't bother people, but I thought they said these really cool outfits.
The final thing I have is
no touching without permission. Also part of that no consent thing.
Yeah, no touching. No touching. Final thing I have is if you need assistance, then make sure that you look for the event staff. Look for somebody who works there. They usually have an information area or something of that nature. So you can always look for them. Also, a fan expo. If you have a real emergency, they always have police officers there.
And paramedics.
And paramedics. You can find one of them as well. So that's all I've got on the list.
I think we covered just about the majority of first stuff. Oh, my guinea pigs are loud in the background. They're like demanding food. I don't know if you can hear them or not, but
I heard squeaking.
That's why I live by myself.
Hey, but I got my dinner brought to me, so that was the best part. My sister just dropped dinner off.
Well, I'm actually looking at. I'm having dinner. I'm gonna grill myself a steak for my birthday.
Nice.
I had one for lunch too, so I'm gonna have one for dinner too.
It's your birthday.
It's your birthday. You can eat whatever you want.
Yeah. Yep. I was looking at going to the local steakery and thought maybe for what I wanted would have been about $50. And I thought, not if I was going to be able to sit and eat there, that would have been fine. But I would have brought it home, and I was like, no, it wouldn't be the same. So I just went to the grocery store and got a couple things, and I was like, I'm going to get 2 of these, and I'll have one now and one later. Now it's later.
Okay, there you go. Okay, well, I think we pretty much covered everything. So thank you, Mike, for jumping in with us and sharing tips and tricks. And we'll have to get we'll have to get bigger group together and just reminisce on cons and.
Well,
and
you know, I think we talked about it last time. It would be fun some con. Me and David will be Fred and Barney, and y'all can be Wilma and Betty.
Oh yeah, that we do that. Well, and Taylor came up with one because she just happened to because she and her sister are always on the lookout for special deals and stuff when it comes to costumes. She came up with. Do you want to spill the beans, Taylor?
Yes, I found a Cruella de Vil coat.
Cool.
So I was thinking, and I thought of you. I told Jennifer I thought of you that maybe you and one of your buddies would want to be Jasper and Horace, and Jennifer could be the Dalmatian.
That would be cool. I'd have to. It's been a long time since I saw any version of 101 Dalmatians, but I'll look at it.
You could be one of the guys who kidnaps the Dalmatians.
Oh yeah, I need to do more villains. The only time I've ever done an outright villain was 2 years ago at AllCon. I put on my black suit and I have a purple dress shirt, and I said I was Kilgrave from Jessica Jones.
Okay.
So part of it was a friend of mine's buddy was going to do Jessica the next day, so I said we took some. I got her permission, of course. We took some very pictures where I was trying to be very creepy, like I was touching her in an inappropriate way, not, but like her hair or my hand on her face. I always got permissions because we had just met.
Yes.
It worked because I mean, and of course, if I'd really planned it out, I would have gotten some purple dashes of makeup, but just the purple shirt and the black suit worked. And I had more hair than to style, so I kind of styled it a little bit.
Yeah. But I thought that would be very funny. I said, Jennifer, we need to ask Michael if he would do this with us. I know he has a buddy. It'd be hilarious. Jasper and Horace, and then she could be the Dalmatian.
I like it. We can always work that out.
A couple we can probably plan out, honestly.
Yeah,
Because we got at least 6 more months.
I know. Yes. Well, and Taylor and I have a costume list for like the next 5 years. So
I don't plan that far ahead because, I mean, I've got my my original series Star Trek. I want to expand on it. I want to get at least a couple more uniforms. But again, it's partially because I'm so dang big. I'm afraid to buy even a Chinese 3X is going to be too small.
Yeah, I can see that. That's always the kicker. Yeah.
I was looking at the size chart and I got out my handy dandy tape measure and went, well, it says X amount of inches and it seems like it would fit, but what if it's a Chinese inch? It's only 3/4 of an English inch.
Yeah.
Or like I remember some joke from Star Trek. The Klingon has a kilogram. What is that compared to a kilometer? Is it 2 kilometers? Is it a third of a kilometer? I got to find a big enough nerd that knows that at some point.
Well, we do have them all planned out, but the problem is that we keep adding to the list of ones that we want to do, so the list never diminishes.
Yeah.
That is
well, David, my partner in crime, who makes a lot of the stuff for me, I got to touch base with him. We hadn't talked in a while, but he usually he's the one that called me up 4 years ago, and he made me the Fezzik suit just for the hell of it because he had an Inigo. And then when we realized we both had black suits, that's how we became the Blues Brothers. And he's made me all my Biff suits because we kind of looked it up. I think I've mentioned it before. We have about the same height difference between Michael J. Fox and Tom Wilson. So we sell it even better because I'm 6'3", he's like 5'8", and that's about close to what the difference those guys have. So it works. Or maybe Michael J. Fox is a little bit shorter, but the fact that I'm so much taller than him helps.
Yeah. It's
kind of like my Wesley last time we had Wesley Physics. I'm 6'3", he was 6'1". I didn't sell as a giant very well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we always use our height difference to our advantage as well. So
it's also like when we do the Blues Brothers, we have about the same height difference between Aykroyd and Belushi did. I sent one of the pictures of us as the Blues Brothers to a friend of mine. She said, Jake looks more like Elwood than I do, but he's Jake and I'm Elwood, so just got a deal.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about that. I was like, I think it would be great. Michael and his friend would be perfect.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
I also like the Flintstone idea too.
Yes, definitely we can do the Flintstone idea.
We have a potential Betty, but It's more like it's pinned up. It would be nice, but we don't have any prospects for Wilma right now. It would be cool. Jennifer, you could be you be Wilma, and Taylor be Betty, because then we could work with the height difference, because you and I are both tall, and David is not short, but I'm just a lot taller than him. He's like 5'7", 5'8".
Well, I'm 5'4", so that would work out.
Yeah, our potential Betty is 4'10".
I got a little bit on her then. I'm not the short one.
Well, it would be cool. It would be like, did y'all ever watch any of the new versions of Voltron?
No.
Well, the new version that came out a few years ago. I was at an anime con, and I managed to get 3 or 4 groups of the cast together. Like, I had 2 or 3 different groups of different people of the cast together. So it was great. So I've got a picture with me with like 3 of one character, 4 of another character, 2 of this character, and it was just great. Just kind of catch them going, oh, you two guys were. So at one point I had like a dozen cosplayers cosplaying the various characters from Voltron with me. Just old school, funny, just, of course it's an anime con, you're going to find a lot more of those characters there than another con. Yeah. It was great. I was like, yeah, got a picture with all of them. And I was just there like, and it's like, who's this old guy getting all excited about seeing this? And I explained to them, I watched Voltron coming home from high school and junior high in the 80s. So the new Voltron just makes it all the more exciting. And they went, oh, that makes sense, old man.
But yeah, so we have definitely, and I know we talked about the other costume idea that we have about you joining in. We won't spill that one. That one's the big surprise.
Well, when y'all can tell me, let me know, because you've already told me, I've already forgotten.
We'll tell you as soon as we're done. We'll tell you. All right. So,
any other tips here before we sign off here?
I think we've covered just about everything and more.
Big thing to remember, you're going to have to go to the bathroom. Comfortable shoe, comfort. Don't mess your feet up.
Yes.
You're going to be on your feet a lot. So make sure your footwear's comfortable. Like when I bought some boots for a cosplay, I took them on a 2-mile walk a week before the con just to make sure they would work. Because I knew I wouldn't have time to break them in, but I figured if they hurt after a 2-mile walk, they wouldn't be suitable. Yeah. And they, within limits for being new boots, they were fine. So off and running.
Yeah, that works. It's good to go. So, okay, guys. Well, hopefully this helped you a little bit on, what things you need to keep in mind when you're going to your first con. And we will be back, I'm sure, at some other time talking about whatever. So, take care, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye now.